Once upon a time, it was a bright and sunny afternoon in the small town of Nur. Children were playing and laughing, enjoying their day off from school. They had all flown to their favorite spot, an open field on the edge of town where they could run and play without any worries. Among the children was a young boy named Hamza. He clutched an old kite in his hand, its colorful tail fluttering in the gentle breeze. The kite was patched together with pieces of cloth, and its frame was held together with bits of string and wood. It was a far cry from the sleek, modern kites that the other children had, each one more vibrant and intricate than the last. The other kids noticed Hamza's worn-out kite and burst into laughter. "Look at that!" one of them said, pointing at Hamza's kite. "That thing won't even fly!" Another child chimed in. "Yeah, it looks like a complete mess. Why do you even try?" Hamza ignored their taunts and focused on the task at hand. He carefully tied the string to the frame of his kite, making sure it was secure. Then he took a piece of tape and patched up the holes in the fabric, smoothing it over to make it as good as new. When he was done, Hamza stood up and faced the wind, holding out his kite. The other children continued to laugh and make fun of him, but Hamza didn't let it bother him. He took a deep breath and began to run. The kite shook and wobbled in the air, but it stayed aloft, dancing in the sky like a wounded bird. One of the boys with the shiny new kite couldn't resist any longer. He shouted, "Hey, you're ruining everyone's fun! Why don't you just give up? You know your kite isn't going to fly." But Hamza didn't respond. He kept running, his eyes fixed on the kite as it struggled to stay airborne. Just then, the wind suddenly picked up and blew across the field. All the children screamed with delight as their kite soared higher and higher into the sky. But Hamza's kite began to fall. He reached out to try to catch it, but it was too late. The wind had snatched it away and was carrying it off over the hill. Hamza's heart sank. He felt like giving up, but then he remembered what his grandfather had told him once. "What you care for will care for you back." Hamza loved his kite, even though it was old and torn. He had put so much time and effort into fixing it, and he wasn't going to let a little wind defeat him. He took off running after his kite, scrambling over the hill and into the field on the other side. And there in front of him, dancing in the breeze, was his kite. It was still flying, somehow managing to stay airborne despite its age and the rough treatment it had endured. But as Hamza watched, the wind began to pick up again, and this time it blew with even more force than before. The shiny new kites that the other children had flown were no match for the sudden gusts. They tore and snapped, falling to the ground in pieces. Hamza watched in horror as his kite, too, began to fall. He ran towards it, hoping to catch it before it was too late. And just when he thought he might be able to save it, a particularly strong gust of wind snatched it right out of his hands. Hamza stumbled to a stop, his eyes wide with dismay. He looked up and saw his kite struggling against the wind, its tail torn and tattered, but still trying to stay aloft. As if in response to his despair, the kite suddenly dipped, then plummeted to the ground. Hamza felt his heart break. He had failed. His kite was broken beyond repair. Then he heard a voice, "Hey, come help me." Puzzled, he turned around to see one of the boys who had been making fun of him earlier. "What is it?" Hamza asked, wiping the tears from his eyes. "My kite. It's stuck in a tree, and I can't get it down." Hamza hesitated. He still felt sad about his own kite, but he didn't want the other boy to feel the same disappointment he had. So he nodded, and the two boys set off toward the tree. When they got closer, Hamza saw that the boy's kite was indeed stuck high up in the branches. The boy looked up at it longingly. "I want to fix it," he said, "but I don't know how." "It's okay," Hamza said, smiling gently. "Let's go get it." He took a stick from the ground and began poking at the tangled string until it came loose. Then he handed it back to the boy. "Here you go," he said. "Thanks," the boy said shyly. Why did you help me? You could have just let me struggle like you struggled with your kite." Hamza shrugged. "Because everyone needs a friend sometimes," the boy blushed. "Oh, okay." As the two boys made their way back to the field, Hamza couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. He may not have had a fancy new kite, but he had something just as valuable, a friend. And as he looked up at the sky, he saw that his kite was still flying, somehow managing to stay aloft despite its age and the rough treatment it had endured. From that day forward, Hamza and the other boy became best friends. They would spend their afternoons flying kites together, and neither of them ever forgot the lesson they had learned. It wasn't about how perfect something was, but how much love and effort you put into it. Hamza's old, torn kite may not have been as flashy as the others, but it was a testament to his spirit, his resilience, and his big heart. And as long as he cared for it, it would care for him right back. The moral of the story: life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Sometimes you'll get a bad hand, but it's up to you to make the best of it. And remember, what you care for will care for you back.